flying, kayaking, fishing, skiing, and many, many more adventures. Follow along as we explore the wild land of the Midnight Sun.
So getting my pilot's license was a lot of work. I watched a lot of videos, read a lot of books, and studied a ton before even starting my flying. That helped me save a bunch of money so I wasn't getting in the plane learning with an instructor what aerodynamics are and the different mechanics of the plane. It took me about 6 months, which I think is pretty typical for people that I know, but there are so many different circumstances. You're pivoting off of your instructor's availability, your availability, and then the plane, and then of course there's weather to account for too. I learned in a Citabria Champ, and then halfway through my training, I flew down to New Mexico, and we picked up a Taylorcraft and flew it back to Alaska. I finished my license in my T-Craft, taking my check ride at literally the last possible minute. The weather finally cleared up the day we were flying out on vacation, and then I got my license done. Then we got back home, did some work putting new plastics on my skis, and now I'm ready to get back into the T-Crate and do some ski flying. So I think 6 months is pretty typical for people I know, but it can also be done quicker if you're solely committed to flying. I think condensing it together as much as possible is great so that you can kind of get on a roll with it. But I have a full-time job, so with that, coordinating with instructors, the fickle Alaska weather, and also traveling lengthened my timeline. I definitely recommend getting all of the book work done and nailing down the concepts before even starting to fly. I found an online ground school course and went through all the test prep questions a bunch of times, and that worked really well for me and ended up saving me a lot of money. I also learned a lot flying in the right seat with friends, absorbing as much as I could from them, and then I was able to get familiar with the basic maneuvers, traffic patterns, and then a little bit of mountain flying too, which was really helpful, especially for the mountain flying that we do up here in Alaska. Learning in a tailwheel is definitely a bit challenging at first and a steeper learning curve than learning a nose wheel, but for the flying that I'm interested in up here in Alaska, I think it was good to jump right into it, especially if you can find a plane and an instructor. And then buying an airplane was definitely a huge financial and logistical challenge, but if you really want to build hours and become a commercial pilot, which I'm planning to do, getting a relatively cheap plane is a really good way to go to build hours and then have a lot of fun while you're doing it. There's a lot to getting your private pilot's license as far as what to study, the cost, learning in a tailwheel, etc. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below and we'll try our best to get back to you and hopefully create some more in-depth videos depending on the interest. But otherwise, we'll see you in the next one.